If you really want to become wealthy and have millions of dollars to your name when you're young, then there's really one concept that you have to understand. Now, most of the time when we talk about investing your money in your 20s to become wealthy in your 30s or 40s, the thing that we're talking about is investing your money for the long term, having time on your side, compounding your profits. But that's not what I want to talk about in this video. Now, these things are important. Having time for your money to grow and letting your money compound is one of the most powerful tools to let your money grow and compound to build wealth passively. But if you want to build wealth sooner and not just wait for your money to compound and grow, there's something different that you have to understand. When I was in college, I understood that eventually I wasn't going to be in college anymore. And when I wasn't in college, I was going to hit this real world thing where now I would have pressure on me to make money. Because when you're in college, you don't really have the same pressure of making money and supporting yourself and a family because you're in college. But once you're done with college, now all eyes are on you. You got to get a job, you got to start paying your bills, and you have to be able to support yourself financially. And so I started to understand that buffer back when I was in college, and that's when I started to ask myself a couple questions. What do I want to do in my life? What do I want to achieve? And what am I willing to risk to make that happen? When I was in college, I started a few businesses, and that's when I learned that I don't have it in me to work for somebody else. Some people do, but it wasn't for me. I have this entrepreneur bug where I can't follow somebody else's guidance. I can't follow someone else's directions. I cannot work for somebody else. I had to work for me. Now, I knew that, and I was a very hard worker, but I just didn't know how to put the pieces together. How can I now create something where now I'm building a business, where I'm leading the charge, but I don't know what to do? If you're in your 20s right now, you got to understand that you're young and you have time to recover from financial setbacks, which means you have the ability to take risk. I had to start and build a handful of different businesses before I really understood what it took to scale a business. Some of these businesses completely failed. Some of them made me a lot of money, but then it also took me a lot of time to understand how to invest my money, which meant there was times where I lost money. The real upsides that you have in life financially all come with risk. Now, the reason why most people will never be able to achieve the real wealth that they dream of is because they're not willing to take that risk. They always think, oh, what happens if I quit my job? Then how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to feed my family? How am I going to continue on with my life? If I take this risk and invest my money, what happens if it doesn't work out? If I take this risk, what happens if I fail? How am I going to go back to my husband or my wife? How am I going to tell my kids that I failed? How am I going to live with myself if I take a risk and it doesn't work out for me? But when you're young, one of the biggest advantages that you have on your side is time, because you have time to recover from your risk and your failures. And that is one thing that you can never get back. When I was finishing law school, about to enter the real world, I knew my cushion was about to go away because I wasn't going to be in school anymore, and now I had to rely on myself to take care of myself, because throughout law school I went to all the classes, I did good in school, but I didn't go out of my way to learn how to be an attorney. I didn't go to all the internships, I didn't go network with all the judges, I didn't go meet all the business owners. I was building my own business. And so towards the end of my law school career, that's when it started to hit me. Oh my God, I'm about to graduate and I'm about to be on my own, and I'm going to be running my own business, and now I'm going to have to be able to support myself, and I have no other cushion. This is it. Now, I was fortunate where I started businesses years before I even started law school, and so by the time I got to the end of law school, I was already making pretty decent money. My business was doing pretty good. I was making at least 6 figures a year, and I had a few real estate investments. But the issue was, now I was losing all the fallback cushion that I had. Now it was all me. But the advantage was, now I had more time to work on my business. But it was still stressful. I had a lot of anxiety. I was struggling sleeping at night because I kept thinking, what happens if my business doesn't work out? What happens if I screw something up? What happens if I fail? I'm not going to be able to go back and get a job as an attorney. One, because I'm not going to know what to do. And second, because I don't want to do that. So what is my backup? Because when you're taking all these risks and you're starting your own business and you're going for it all, there is no plan B, because if you fail, now you got to start all over again. But the thing that I kept telling myself is, hey, if 2 years go by and you completely fail and nothing is working for you and you have no money, you can still turn things around. You can still go and get a job. You can still go learn and figure out how to become an attorney. Maybe go get a free internship and start working somewhere. I mean, it's going to be harder, but it's still possible. So if things fail, I still have time to fix things. When you're not married and you don't have any kids, you don't got a lot of responsibilities. This is your time to take as many risks as possible. That means starting dumb business ideas, because one of these dumb business ideas might actually pan out into a good business idea, and that means taking investment risks, investing into things that you think could potentially grow a whole lot bigger in the future. You don't have to play it completely safe when you're young. Yeah, you can have some of your safer investments, you can invest in the ETFs, you can do some of that, but you should also be taking risk, because this is your time to take risk. It kills me when I see a young dude out of college, a 20-something, driving around in a nice BMW that they're financing, working a job that they may or may not hate, where they're making an average salary, and then they talk about these big dreams of how they want to become successful and become so rich. But the reality is your actions have to match your goals, because right now you are throwing your money away on these liabilities that are not doing anything for you. This is the time that you have to take risks. Get rid of all these liabilities. Get rid of the fancy car, get rid of the brand name stuff for a little while, and invest this money in you. If you have a business idea, go for it. If you want to make an investment, go for it. This is your time to do something. Look, I don't say any of this to brag. I'm saying this to get a point across, because you're not going to get any younger and your responsibilities are only going to grow as you get older. So this is the time to take risks. The first time I made 6 figures, I was in school and I was driving around in a beat up car probably worth $500. The first time my business made $1 million in a year, I was still in my 20s and I was still driving that beat up car worth $500, because I wanted to invest everything I had back into myself, because this was my time to really build, grow, and take risks. It's tough because when you're in your 20s, you want to flex and you want to enjoy your youth, right? You want to go to the club, you want to drive the nice car, you want to go to the parties, and you want to go on the nice vacations, show off all your friends, show your cool life off on Instagram. But the reality is you got to figure out what you really want. You got to figure out if your goals are aligning with your actions, because a lot of people have goals way up here, but their actions are way down here. They say they want to have all these nice things. They say that they want to become wealthy, but their actions show something completely different. Their actions show them blowing money. Their actions show them just blowing their time. Their actions show them not doing anything to actually take them to their goals. Taking that first step is hard, because most of us aren't told how to take risks. Most of us aren't told how to manage risks, because we're always told that if you make a mistake, it's wrong. Messing up is wrong because you messed up, you screwed up. But the reality is that's how you learn. I screwed up in so many business ideas. I've been scammed, I've been sued, I've been screwed over, but these are the things that got me to where I am today. I mean, the reason why I started Minority Mindset was because I got scammed and screwed over in another business that I was starting. So I started making videos teaching people how to start a business without getting screwed over. Now, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't invest in any of your traditional investments. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't be investing in ETFs. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't be investing in real estate. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing any of that. These are good long-term investments that will help you build wealth over the long term. These are things that you always want to be doing, because this is what will build you that long-term consistent wealth. But if you want to get there faster and you want to have more money going into your investments, your passive investments, you need to have more income coming in. And if you really want to have more income coming in, you need to do something that will allow you to have more income, which means you're going to have to take more risk. And the best time to take that risk is now, especially when you're young, because life is just going to get busier, you're going to get more responsibilities, you're going to have more financial commitments, and it's going to get harder for you to do that. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but it will never get easier. Which means if you want to do something, this is the best time to do it. Take that risk today. The best decision I ever made was not listening to anybody else's advice, because everybody told me I was dumb. Everybody told me that I should have become a doctor, and when I didn't become a doctor, that I was dumb. Then when I went to law school, everybody told me that I should have focused harder in my classes. Everyone told me I should have got good internships. Everyone told me that I should have gone and worked for a good attorney after I graduated, but I didn't listen because I wanted something different. I didn't listen to everyone around me, and it was hard because everybody kept telling me how dumb I was. But I knew I wanted something different. I wanted something that most people could not understand. I wanted something that the majority of people could not see. And that requires you to not go out and take a risk, because now you're going against the whole world. Nobody understands what you're doing. Nobody understands why you're doing it, and nobody can see the vision that you have. Nobody can see the dreams and goals that you have. But if you want to achieve these dreams, goals, you want to have that financial success, you got to be willing to go out and do something. And most people are not going to understand it. So now you got to be the person to not only go and take the risk, but now you also have to take that criticism from everybody else around you. But that's what's going to help you build that tough skin. That way you can achieve whatever it is that you want. That means you have to be willing to take a risk. If you have a business idea, this is the time to go after it. If you see an investment opportunity and you believe in it, go after it. So what if you lose money? Money will come back. but your time will not. And so you have to be willing to take risks. Now, this doesn't mean do stupid things. Do things that are calculated. Do things that you actually believe in. Do things that have potential for opportunities. And that also means learn. Learn from people that are doing whatever it is that you want to do. You know, back when I was starting my first businesses, YouTube wasn't very popular, especially for people that were entrepreneurs or looking to get financial education. You didn't have this type of stuff on YouTube. So I was reading books. I hated reading when I was growing up. English was my second language. I never read a book until I found a money management book. The first book I ever read was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. After I read that, I read book after book after book talking about investing your money, money management, building a business, marketing, because these were things that I had never been exposed to before. I went through years of school, but nothing that I went to school for taught me how to actually make money, or how to manage my money, or how to grow my money. These were things I had to learn on my own, not just through books, but by doing it myself. That's why I'm so passionate about the minority mindset, because I was doing everything right. I had checked all the boxes. I was busting my butt trying to do everything so I could become successful. But I didn't realize that if I really wanted to become financially successful, there was a different type of education that I needed. If you want to know how to invest your money into ETFs and real estate, that way you have this consistent income coming in when you get older, that's fine. But we have other videos on our YouTube channel talking about that, which is why if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that. But what I'm talking about today is if you really want to become wealthy and you want to do it sooner, you need to invest in yourself. And the earlier you do that, the better, because now you have time on your side. You have time to make mistakes. You have time to recover from your mistakes, and you have time to go out and actually take action on whatever it is you're doing. Time is going to pass no matter what, whether you do something or whether you don't do anything. Time is going to keep going on. A year from today, you are going to be a year older no matter what. But now the question that you have to ask yourself is, where do you want to be a year from now? Do you want to be in the same position you are today, or do you want to be somewhere else? If you want to be somewhere else, then you have to take action. It takes time. It's hard. You're not going to know everything, and you're going to make mistakes, but that's the only way that you're going to learn. And if you're not willing to take those risks, then you're not going to go anywhere. Because the more you wait, the more responsibilities that are going to come your way, the less opportunity you're going to have to take those risks, and the harder it's going to be for you to break away from the system, because now you're going to get trapped in the cycle. You have to go to work. You have to invest in your 401k. You have to pay for your kids' college fund. You have to pay for your spouse's vacation. And as you do that now, you get scared. You get scared of leaving your job. You're scared what happens if you take that risk and things don't work out. You're scared that, hey, what if it takes me 2 years before I start making decent money? What if I can't go and get another job? What if the economy fails when I'm starting this business? What if the sky falls? Or what if you don't get enough sleep to go to work the next day? But if you don't have all those responsibilities around you, it's a lot easier for you to go out and take those risks, which is why if you're younger, it's a lot easier for you to go out and do it. Now, if you're older, that doesn't mean it's impossible. It's going to mean it's a little bit harder, but it is possible if you're willing to put in the work. Remember, you got to have what your goals are, and you need to make sure that your actions are aligning with your goals. I'm going to jump back into the video in just 1 second, but before we do, if you are an investor and you're looking for an easy and free way to stay up to date on what's happening in the top financial news, from the economy to the housing market to the stock market to the crypto market to the global economy, then you have to check out Market Briefs. Market Briefs is my free financial newsletter that I created that will keep you up to date on what's happening in the financial news. You can read the newsletter in less than 5 minutes every morning. It's a fun and easy to read email, and it's completely free. So if you haven't joined Market Briefs yet, I got the link to how you can join down in the description below. If your goal is to start a business and you want to make $1 million a year, that means you divide that by 365, you have to make $2,739 a day in revenue to build a business that's making you $1 million a year. If your business doesn't operate on weekends and holidays and you're only working Monday through Friday, well then now you got to take this $1 million and you got to divide it by 261, because now we got to take out weekends and holidays, which means you have to make $3,831 a day if you want to make $1 million a year in your business. If you want to make $100,000 a year, just remove 1 0. If you want to make $100,000 a year here, you got to make $273 a day. If you want to make $100,000 here, that means you have to make $383 a day. The question now is, how do you start from $0 and take that to $273 a day or $383 a day. What do you do? Where do you start? If you want to start a business and you don't have a business idea and you don't have access to capital, you can't go and raise money somewhere, the first thing you got to do is you got to get some cash quickly. And the easiest way to do that if you don't have a lot of money to start is by using your services. Go out and start detailing people's cars. Go out and start mowing people's lawns. Go out and start helping people with stuff. This is an easy way for you to go out and start generating some cash. That way you have some cash to invest in your business, even if that means being able to now afford building a website or registering your business or filing whatever licenses you need. If you don't know where to start, just take a look around you in your home. Start by selling some of your clothes or some of your old furniture or some of your old electronics. Everyone has stuff in their homes, and it's an easy way for you to generate at least a few $1,000s because you have this extra stuff sitting in your home that you're not using. Just take it and sell it. Now you got some extra cash. Once you do that, then you got to figure out what kind of business you actually want to start. And this isn't always the easiest thing to do because people make it kind of seem like you're just gonna be able to find your passion and know what you want. But it took me a lot of different business tries to figure out what I liked and what my passion really was, because my passion changed so many times and what I thought was cool changed so many times. But this is where you have to learn to be resourceful, because so many people make it seem like if you want to start a business and if you want to build a big business, you need a whole bunch of money to start. That you cannot start a successful business unless you have resources and unless you have a whole bunch of cash in your pocket. But that's just not true if you have the ability to think and be creative and be resourceful. When I was in high school, I would spend my weekends working at Indian weddings, and I would work with DJs, and I would play an instrument called the dhol, which is a native Indian Punjabi drum. And so I would play this drum at weddings and I would make a little bit of money, but I got to know a lot of the DJs. And one of the DJs in the industry said, "Hey, you know a lot of people, you're in high school, how about you and I work together to start hosting teen parties at a local restaurant?" There was a new restaurant that popped up in our city, and this restaurant was looking for some exposure and they were looking for some brand awareness, and so they were willing to work with us to allow us to host parties there in exchange for us promoting the restaurant. And us promoting the restaurant doesn't cost us any money, so I figured, hey, let's do it. Now we had a venue to host the party, which was the restaurant. We had a DJ to provide the music, and then we had me, the promoter. I didn't have any extra cash to throw into this business idea, and my parents were not about to give their son some money to throw into this dumb business idea when I should be studying, and so we had to get creative. The way that we would make money is that we would charge people cover or a fee to get into the venue, but we did have costs before the party started. Like we needed to pay for security, we had to pay some money to marketing to create some flyers, and so the DJ agreed that he would front the money to do these things, which was maybe a few $100, and then the money that we make from charging cover would first pay off these expenses, and then whatever money is left after that, we would split 50-50. The DJ would take half and I would take half. My first party when I was in high school ended up being huge. So many people ended up showing up because they were curious about what was going on, but we were not ready for that, and so it was just me and the DJ working, and the DJ had to work at the DJ booth, and I was the one trying to collect cover and run everything else. And so because I was running around, a lot of people got into the venue without even paying to get in. By the time we got to the end of the night, everybody had a great time, and now we had some cash to count, and now we're counting the cash, we paid off the expenses, and then we finished counting out all the expenses, and then we were left with a whole $4. $2 for the DJ, $2 for me. We had spent weeks planning the event, preparing for the event, and getting everything ready, and now to reward ourselves, we had a whole $2 each. But this was the start of something a whole lot bigger for me, because when I got to college, I saw that everybody around me in college was partying. But I didn't drink, I wasn't into partying, I just liked the hosting side of it because I liked the business side of it. You know where this is going now, right? So now I'm in college, I see everybody partying, but I don't want to spend my time partying, so I'm a freshman in college, and the first thing I do is I start knocking on the doors of all the clubs and venues on my college campus, and I ask them, hey, what can I do to host a party at your venue? The first club I go to says, no problem, just pay us $10,000 and you can have the venue and host your party and do whatever you want. I didn't have $10,000, so that was not going to happen. I go to the next place, they didn't answer the door. I go to the third place, they said, sure, you can do a party here, and all you got to do is give us, the club, 50% of the cover that you earn. Now it's the exact same thing as before. I didn't have to pay any money to get the venue. I know a whole bunch of DJs, and they were all willing to work with me on a 50-50 commission. So half of the revenue would go to the club, and now we have half of the revenue left. Half of this now remaining revenue would go to the DJ, and the other half would be mine. So yeah, I didn't get to make all the money that I could have, but it was an easy way for me to get started without putting in a whole bunch of cash, because now I have everything I need. Now all I gotta do is do the marketing, and because I'm in college, everybody's all around you. So I would spend a few $100s to print 5,000 flyers, and then I would stand on the street on my college campus passing these out, and I wouldn't stop until all 5,000 flyers were gone. This business grew very quickly because word spread fast about how much fun people were having at our events, and second, it was easy to start with very little cash. So the first thing you have to do if you want to be able to build a successful business is you have to be resourceful. If you are not resourceful, you will never be able to build any sort of successful business. This is not something that you can learn how to do in books. This is just something where you have to be aware of what's around you, and you have to start using the resources around you, because this is what will allow you to be able to build a business using whatever you have around you. The easiest way to make up for your lack of dollars is just to increase your hustle. Now when you start making a little bit of money, the next thing you're going to start thinking about is scalability. How can you take this little bit of money that you're making and scale it into something a whole lot bigger? And this is where you have to understand the difference between just owning your own job and actually running a business. Because the issue that I had with this party promotion business was, one, I got sick of the business because I didn't really like the industry, but second was it wasn't scalable. Because the way it worked is, yeah, I made good money. I can make a few $1,000s in a weekend. But if I wasn't hosting an event, if I wasn't there working, I wasn't gonna get paid. When we talk about building a business, not just owning your own job, when I talk about building business, I mean you own a machine that will continue to produce revenue or to produce money even if you're not physically working, because either you have other people working that are continuing to run the machine, or you have a system, which is very important even with other people, is you need to have a system where this business can run even without you physically working. When we're talking about a business, you have to understand that there's two parts to every business if we're talking about building a real business. You have the owners, and then you have the employees. And so what you need to understand is when you are building a business, you are both the owner and the employee. But what you don't want to do if you're talking about really building a business is get stuck into understanding that you are the only owner and the only employee. See, when I was running the event planning business, I was making decent money. I was the owner of the business, I was the only employee, and so anytime I made money, this was money that was going into my pocket. But there's a difference between the money you earn from working in the business and the profit that your business makes. Because if I had paid myself just a regular salary, then now if I cut myself out, if I hired somebody else to take my position working in the business, then there wouldn't be really any profit left, because now all the money is going to pay the salary, and the owner, who in this case was also me, but if the owner was someone else, then the owner would be left with nothing. Let's think about it this way. I create a guacamole business that is now doing $1 million a year in revenue. I started the business myself. I created this guacamole recipe. I started selling it in stores, and now stores around the country are carrying it, and I'm doing $1 million a year in revenue. So what's happening now is I'm making $1 million, but then I got to pay my expenses. I got to buy my avocados, I got to buy the salt, I got to buy all the other stuff, and all my expenses are costing me, let's just say $500,000, which means now I am left with $500,000 a year. But all this $500,000 is a profit because now I have to pay myself, and for the purposes of this example, I'm going to assume that there are no other employees in this business. So let's assume that I'm the only employee, I'm the only owner. And so now if we talk about the profit, which is the difference between what the owner gets and what the employee gets, I have to pay myself as an employee of the business, as a CEO or whatever. I have to pay myself a salary. So for the sake of this example, let's assume that a person in this position, if I had to hire somebody else to take my role in this job, I'd have to pay them $200,000 a year. So now this is $200,000 for salary, which means the business is making $300,000 of profit because I had to pay somebody, in this case it's me, $200,000 to run the business. This is the difference between running a business and just owning your own job. Because if you're running a business, now what you can do is you can find somebody else to take this job and you can own the business. You don't have that ability to do that if you are just running and owning your own job. So when we're talking about being able to scale a business, you have to understand that in order to build a real business, you have to have a business where you can pluck yourself out of the equation and have somebody else come in and do the same job. And you got to understand that, hey, this person is going to want money as the employee. Right now, you might not be paying yourself a salary because whatever is left in the business account is just money for you, but that's not how you want to be thinking if you really want to build a scalable business. You have to understand that if somebody else was in your shoes, how much money would they charge as a salary? Now you pay yourself that as a salary, and whatever's left is the profit in the business. Once you can separate these two things, Now you have the ability to build a real business because you understand that, hey, somebody else can take your spot and you can still be the owner of the business. The second thing that you gotta understand about scaling is you wanna be able to have a product that allows you to scale your brand. I'm gonna focus in on the internet here because the internet has changed the way that business can be done now, and it makes scaling your business so much more accessible. Now, just because it's more accessible doesn't mean it's easy, but scaling and building a business is so much more accessible now because you can reach millions and billions of people around the globe thanks to the internet. Every single business in the world needs only two things in order to be able to survive. And I don't care what type of business you're talking about. If you want to build a successful business, whether it's making $100,000 a year or $10 million a year, you have to have these two things if you want to be able to survive, grow, or thrive. You gotta have a product and you gotta have customers. If you have a product that customers are buying, now you have a successful business. But if you have a good product that no one's buying, well, now you don't have a business. And likewise, if you have customers who want your product, but you have nothing to sell to them, well, now you're not making any money and you cannot build a business doing that. This is at its core what building a business comes down to. You need a product to sell to customers, and you need customers that want to buy your product. This is something that you have to figure out. What is this product that you want to create? What is something that you can create value in that people would want? Once you create this product, now it's a matter of finding customers. And now, thanks to the internet, the most accessible way for you to find customers is to open up an Instagram page. It's to start a TikTok channel. It's for you to start a YouTube channel. It's for you to start a Facebook page. Something where now you're putting out content where you can educate people about your product. So now potential customers can see your product, and if they like it, now they have the ability to buy your product. Now, thanks to the internet, if you have a product, you can get customers to buy a product 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you don't gotta worry about paying rent to get your business started because now people can come onto your online store, people can go onto your website any time of the day from anywhere in the world, any day of the week. You don't need to start off with a sales rep or a customer service rep to service every single customer. It's all digitalized, it's all automatic. And so now you have the ability to scale a business idea assuming that you have a product if you know how to find the customer, and this is all digital marketing. So you can see there's so many different verticals here. First, you gotta know how to create the product. This is innovation. What do you wanna create? What do you wanna do? What are you good at? Then, how do you find the customer? Well, now this is digital marketing. How do you find customers on Instagram? How do you find customers on TikTok? How do you build a blog? How do you build a YouTube channel? There's so many different verticals that you can take here, and if you don't want to go that route, then you can look into how do you do paid advertising? How do you create viral messages? How do you create a message that people will want to share with their friends? And how can you run an advertisement profitably on Facebook or Instagram or whatever? Once you can figure that system out, then it's all just a numbers game. If you can make $27 of profit for every product that you sell, and you sell 10 of these products a day, well, now you will be able to create a business that's generating $100,000 a year in revenue just by selling 10 of these products a day. If you want to take it up to $1 million a year, well, then you're going to need 100 sales a day, and that's going to take you up to 1 million. But now it's just a numbers game. How do you take it to 10 products a day? Once you can figure that out, now you come up with new marketing ideas. Now you come up with new product ideas. How can you scale it to $1 million a day, right? It's all baby steps. First thing you got to do is you got to learn to sell one product a day. Once you can sell one product a day, you can scale this up to sell 10 products a day. To go from 10 to 100, now you might want to create a second product. That way you can make more money per product, per sale, because now people might be buying 2 products every time they buy something. And now you might be coming up with new marketing messages, new creative ideas to access more people and to get more eyeballs on your product. If you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to start a side business or you want to start your own business, don't let someone tell you that you don't have the ability to do it because you don't have the cash or the experience. All you need to do is you got to first be resourceful. You got to know what you want, and then you got to put in the puzzle pieces to make it happen. It is not easy. It's not going to happen overnight. Starting a business is a lot of work, and it's not for the vast majority of people. But if it's for you, you got to go out and make it happen. Find the way to put the pieces together, and then you'll be able to create your own success through that.
I knew I wanted to be rich when I was a kid. Not because I was some greedy, money-hungry child, but because I just wanted to buy my dad's time back. My parents are immigrants from a state in India called Punjab. And the way it works is when your parents come from a different country, a poorer country, and then to come to a place like America, now not only